Hello, my name is Adam Levy. Welcome to another episode of my Guitar Tips video blog. This is episode 7, and the theme of this episode is transpose, transpose, transpose. And what I mean by that is not just put a capo on the guitar, and of course if you have a capo you could play pretty much any song in any key, and that's great. Actually, I use capos all the time. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't use a capo. But for this particular guitar tip, maybe I'll cover capos in another tip. But for today, what I really want to talk about is capoing with your mind. And of course with your hands as well. There's going to be 2 parts to this. It'll all be one video, but I'm going to break down transposing into 2 different sections here. So in the first section, I just want to talk about playing in open position, okay? Some people talk about the caged concept. That's C-A-G-E-D. So it doesn't mean we're going to sit in a cage and play the guitar, though if that's your thing, go for it. It's an acronym. It just is showing you the 5 different open chord shapes that we can play here. C, A, G, E, and D. And each one of those is really, a whole kind of orientation on the guitar. If you're thinking in C, then, a major scale would be something like this. And if you're thinking in A, it would be something like this. In G, E, ooh, suspense. And D would be this. So each way we have a scale, that we can play all across the strings if we want to. We have chords. So if you're in C, you've got this as the 1 chord. The 4 chord is F. The 5 chord is G. And if this is new terminology to you, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say 1, 4, 5, that would make this tip longer if I got into a whole discussion of harmony. But just a really simple way to think of it is if we're in the key of C and we go 1, 2, 3, 4 with C as 1, we just go up the C scale. C, D, E, F. F is the 4 chord. C, D, E, F, G. G is the 5 chord. And if you have 1, 4, and 5, you can play a lot of simple songs. Country songs, folk songs, pop songs. That's the real kind of, meat and potatoes of harmony right there. So if you can do that, just that much in all 5 of those orientations. So in A, the chords would be A, D, E, and A again. That's 1, 4, 5, 1. In G, you have G, C, D, and G. And E would be E, A, B, or B7 if you like, and back to E. And D is D, G, A, D. Okay. And so, yeah, you could check that off. Okay, I know that. But a nice way to really get into it is to take a song, a simple song, like a folk song, and play it through all of those keys. So I'm not going to play through all of the keys right now, but I'll play through 2 or 3 of them just to show you what I mean. So there's a song called the Red River Valley, and if you play it in C, it goes like this. Now, these are just the chords. I'm not going to deal with the melody at the moment. And, I didn't do anything too fancy, but I did do a few little walk-ups and different bass notes. You want to be able to take advantage of the key that you're in. So that's how it goes in C. If you were in E, it'd be a whole different thing. It'd be like this. It's a 4 chord, that's A. 5, B7. E7, A, shape for A, B7. So that's some stuff that you can get at in E. If you're wondering, nothing too fancy there, but this is an E7 voicing. And then this is what I used for A, E, C sharp, E, A, and then the open strings. Just a shape that I like. And you could do that in all 5 of the C-A-G-E caged orientations. And you might even want to play the melody. In fact, you should do. So if we're in C, it goes something like this. And then you could play it in one of the other orientations. So if you wanted to play it in E, it would be something like this. And you could go through all 5 of those again. And that's going to get you not only to know the melody a lot better, but get to know the guitar better and just see the way that melodic things are connected. Now, I did both of those down in the lower octave of the guitar. You could certainly play higher up. You could play, you know. Okay, so I don't mean to say that everything has to be down low. That's just where I happen to play those examples the first time around. So what do I want to say now? Oh, so there's 2 parts to this. So one would be getting really familiar with basic harmony and melodic shapes in all 5 of these positions. You don't have to play Red River Valley. You could pick any song that you know well. This is probably not the time to learn a brand new song when you're doing all this transposition. I would start with something that you could play easily in one key, and now we're just going to migrate it to all those keys. Now, that's open stuff. So now part 2 of this tip is when you're not using open keys and open shapes, and this might be more applicable to jazz guitar playing, but of course, I don't know, to me guitar playing is kind of all one big style. You know, we explore little different corners of it, but I try not to segregate styles too strictly. So anyway, let's take a song like All the Things You Are. It's a great classic jazz standard written by Jerome Kern. And it's in the key of A flat, and it starts on the 6th chord. And so to be able to transpose it, you need to be able to think of all this harmony, the way it functions within the key. So this song goes F minor 7, that's the 6th chord in A flat, B flat minor 7, that's the 2 chord, E flat 7, I'm playing E flat 9 here, and then A flat major 7. So that's 6, 2, 5, 1. Then D flat major 7, that's the 4 chord, G7, and then C major 7. So you could say that G is the 7 chord in A flat, and instead of where it might normally be this chord if we stayed in the key of A flat, we're making it a dominant 7 chord. And we're really changing keys momentarily. We've gone 5-1 in the key of C. So you could either think about those as part of the A flat scale. So you could say 7, a dominant quality on the 7th degree, and major 7 quality on the 3rd degree. Or if it makes more sense to you, you could say we were in A flat. We're momentarily going to transpose to a key, a major third higher, and we're going to play the 5 and the 1 in that new key. Okay, this is just the first 8 bars of the song. It goes on from there. If you're not a jazz-minded player, your head is probably already spinning. And if you are a jazz-minded player, this is probably just about your speed. So I hope you'll stay with me. And even if this doesn't make a lot of sense right now, maybe watch it again in the future and it'll make more sense. So now, if we know the chord progression is 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7, 3, we could do that in another key. So let's say I want to move to the key of G because I'm working with a singer, or let's say I'm a singer and G is a good key for me. So now we're going to go E minor 7, because that's the 6th chord in the key of G. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7 dominant quality, 3 major 7 quality. I stress the chord qualities because these are not the normal qualities that you would expect to find on these roots in the key of G, right? So we've left the key of G when we're playing a B major 7 chord. So let's try another chord, another key, C. So we start on 6, 6, 2. You can also finger it that way if you don't want to use a bar there. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7, and then 3. It's funny, I wanted to go back into open shape. You certainly could mix these two different, caged and jazz don't have to be two separate things. So here would be those same chords in open position. So in C, we start on the 6, that's A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, F major 7, B7, E major 7. Right? So you certainly could play this song in open position, but I don't think of All the Things You Are as a real campfire. It's not going to be a big hit around the campfire. So probably you're going to be playing jazz voicings, non-open string voicings, non-open position voicings. But again, if you want to play All the Things You Are with cowboy chords, or if you want to sit in the cage when you practice, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. So that's those are the two angles that I want you to think about. And again, you could play the melody. I'm not going to play the melody of All the Things You Are right now, but you could find it and learn to play it in all 12 keys, play the chords in all 12 keys. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to rack your brain to be able to do that? Well, here's the big idea. I've written this in the text down below in the description of this video, but I'm just going to read it out loud here. What it says is, getting familiar with the harmony in a variety of keys helps you understand the architecture of a song on a deeper level. Over time, as you examine other songs, you'll discover that certain harmonic movements appear over and over. Recognizing such patterns and conventions may help you with memorization, as in, aha, this chunk of the song is just like that other chunk in that other song that I already know. And also this may come in handy when you're writing your own tunes, just to be fluent and not limited to just a few keys. The more keys you're comfortable in on the guitar, I think the more colors you can explore as a composer. And the thing that I said about one chunk of this song is like another chunk of that song, really, there's not that many different ways that you're going to see chords move. Yes, of course, you could put any 2 chords in a row, or 3 chords, or 4 chords. You could string together progressions any way you want to, but there are tendencies of harmony. Chords tend to move in certain ways. The 5 chord tends to want to go to the 1 chord. It's not a big shock when the 1 chord goes to the 4 chord, or when the 4 chord goes to the 2 chord. These are typical kind of things, and if you can learn to hear them in one song and train your ear and your mind to go, oh yeah, that's just the 4 going to the 2, or that's just the 1 going to the 6. Then it doesn't seem like all these. It's not just that you're memorizing a whole bunch of songs in and of themselves. If you can take them apart and see what they're made of, you'll notice that strings of chords appear in lots of places. And if you can hear those kind of progressions, that's going to come in handy if you find yourself on a gig and somebody calls a tune that you don't know. You don't have to learn it chord by chord, rather, you don't have to ear it chord by chord. You can just hear how things are moving relative to the home key and relative to the previous chord, one chord to the next, and so on. So I hope that this makes a bunch of sense. I've tried to explain it in the way that it makes sense to me, and that's really all I can do. So transpose, 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 and I also hope that you will subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Thanks a lot. This is Adam Levy, Guitar Tips. I'll see you next Friday.